Hey guys, this is Wayne Smelser with Bass East. Throwing another bass cast at you. Tonight we got Kevin Hawk on the line. Kevin's going to be sharing some techniques for summer with the fish head spin and the drop shot. Kevin, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Can you tell us a little bit about these two techniques and how we can utilize these techniques in the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the drop shot first. The drop shot is so versatile. I always have one rigged in my rod box year round, regardless of the time of year or where we're going, because honestly, it's a technique that produces everywhere, but especially in the summertime. A lot of times in the summertime, whether you're fishing, brush piles or bluff walls or humps, the fish like to suspend a lot, and there's no better presentation to make with them than the drop shot. With the drop shot, your worm's sitting up off the bottom or even suspended, 10, 20, 30 feet down in the water column. And, you have an opportunity to put your presentation right in front of their face, just looking at your electronics and dropping it straight down to them. And that's how I like to fish it most of the time. You can drop shot a lot of different baits depending on, what part of the country you're in or what body of water you're fishing. Some are better than others, but a good all-around worm is the robo worm. I drop shot their 4.5 inch and 6 inch straight tails, both the fat robo version and just the regular version as well. And those worms report consistently every time, and they have awesome colors, and you really can't go wrong.
Now, is there a specific line size, hook, or anything that we need to be using to most effectively use this technique?
Yeah, definitely. There's two different hooks that I like. I like a Gamakatsu split shot drop shot hook, which is just basically a circle hook. And I use size 1 or size 2, just depending on the species that I'm after or what bait that I'm drop shotting. And then if I need a weedless presentation, I'll Texas rig it with a 1/0 medium wire robo worm rebarb hook. And the cool thing about the rebarb hook is it has a little keeper at the collar right below the eye. So that way, your robo worm, whatever bait you're drop shotting, stays up on the hook solid. It won't pull down on you. So, in open water techniques, I'll go with the split shot drop shot hook. And then if I need to make a weedless presentation, like I'm in, thick in the brush pile or, around anything that's going to hook up on, I'll use the rebarb hook. And as far as line's concerned, you want a thin diameter line. There's two different ways you can go about it. Number one, you can have braid with a fluorocarbon leader, and a lot of guys use that. But personally, I don't like to feel with it, especially if I'm in deep water. I prefer just to use straight fluorocarbon, and for that, I'll use 6-pound, 100% fluorocarbon. The center diameter line is going to be a lot more user-friendly on your spinning reel, and that's another important thing too on your spinning reel. You want something with a wide spool on it, just so the line doesn't coil quite as much. I use the Abs Garcia Revo Premier size 30, and that one works real well for me.
Good deal. Now switching speeds. Now I know, we kind of went from fishing with the electronics and straight down. The fish head spin is a whole different beast, right?
It is and it isn't. It's very similar to the drop shot in that you can fish it throughout the entire water column, even more so, up in the upper part of the water column for schooling fish or breaking fish. I can't tell you how many times that I've been on Lake Lanier or any clear body of water in the summertime when the fish have come up schooling, and I'll fire a half-pound fish head spin out there and catch schooling fish. And the good thing about it is that little compact half-ounce swimming hornet fish head spin. You can launch that thing, especially with a 7.5-foot rod and 10 or 12-pound line. You can throw it a mile. So even if the fish come up schooling 3, 4, 5 boat lengths away from you, you can still reach them on a cast, and that thing works really well. In addition to schooling fish, you can also fish it for suspended fish, above brush piles or standing timber. There's just the possibilities are endless. And the trick to work with fish head spin, I get a lot of people that ask, well, how do you work it? How do you impart the action? The only wrong thing you can do, I think, is impart too much action with it. It's basically, imagine you throw out a crankbait like a square bill, and you're reeling it back to the boat. It's the same principle with the fish head. You just want a slow, steady retrieve, and even if you feel a fish come up behind it and maybe push your bait a little bit, you'll feel it, something a little bit different, or even feel it bite it. The important thing is to not change your retrieve. Just reel it straight through it. Don't change your retrieve. A lot of times they'll come back and get it and hook up.
Now, what kind of, I know you said standard timber and brush piles. Brush piles, how deep of water are we looking for the fish head spin to be effective?
Well, I mean, the fish head spin comes in sizes from 1/8 all the way down to an ounce. I mean, and I personally use 3/8 and half ounce, 95% of the time. And if I'm fishing, say, 1 to 20 feet, I'll throw the 3/8 ounce. If I'm fishing 20 foot down to like 40 foot, I'll throw the half ounce. So all you got to do is basically cast it out there, count it down to the depth that you want. So say, for example, you have a brush pile sitting in 30 feet of water, and the brush pile is 10 feet tall and tops out at about 20 feet. Well, basically, I'm going to give it a 7 to 8 count because it falls about a foot per second, and engage my reel, give my rod tip a little pop to get that blade turning, and then just a slow, steady retrieve right either over the top of the brush pile or along the side of the brush pile, and you're going to be right in their strike.
Good deal. Now, is there any specific baits that you prefer one over the other on the fish head spin?
Yeah, definitely. My absolutely favorite bait to fish on the fish head spin is the Yamamoto saltwater swim bait trailer. They make two different sizes, a 3.5 inch and a 5 inch. When I'm throwing the 3/8 and half ounce fish head, I'll throw the 3.5 inch. If I'm throwing a bigger fish head, like a 3/4 ounce, I'll throw the 5 inch. But hands down, I mean, it's a great paddle tail swim bait. You get a lot of action out of it, and I catch a lot of fish on it.
Good deal. Now, do you see that color? I mean, everybody goes color crazy. Do you think pearl white will do them in most cases, or are you looking for an actual shad color?
My favorite color in that swim bait is the blue pearl. It doesn't stand out as bright as just a straight pearl white. It's got a little bit of a flake in it as well, and I think it's a little bit more subdued, a little bit more natural, and that's the one I use most of the time.
All right, Kevin. Well, we appreciate your time. I know you're getting ready for an FLW tournament, so we won't keep you on the line no more. But guys, there you have it, straight from the mouth itself. He won the FLW Cup with this technique, and I'm sure that won't be the last time he uses it. Kevin, we appreciate it, and we'll catch up with you again.